Hi guys, and welcome back to a new video. Quite an interesting topic this time, tax dodging. Yes, but in a legal way, of course. We're not talking about anything illegal, we're just talking about legal ways to maneuver your way around tax systems depending on the country you're residing in. Of course, you will have some loopholes in the tax system to try to make benefit of the situation and just try to minimize the amount of tax you're paying and maximize your post-tax income. So, first of all, if you're a US citizen, you're bamboozled because you have to pay taxes wherever you are on planet Earth, or even if you leave planet Earth, you will have to pay taxes because it's citizenship-based tax. So there is no way around it, but of course you can claim as much expenses as you can, and you can have some forms around that to try to maneuver your way around. I'm not really familiar with the US tax system, to be honest, because I'm not a US citizen, but I'm hanging out with a lot of American friends, and all of them are just complaining about the IRS and how ridiculous everything is in terms of being able or being forced to pay taxes, even if you're not benefiting from the US economy whatsoever. But let's face it, almost everything we use today is US based economy. Internet, your phone, your software on the phone, most of your programs. So it's just, realistically speaking, the USA technology system has become stable in everyone's life, in every system in our life. So I don't know whether it's fair or not, but I do believe it's quite a bit over the top here if you're paying just based on your citizenship. So if you're a US based citizen, or if you're a US citizen, then that's on you to understand more your tax laws and to try to figure out a way how to maneuver that. But of course, the classic way is just establishing a company, an LLC, and then you can put as much expenses as you can, just right off almost everything you do as an expense, so you minimize the amount of profit you have at the end of the year, and then you can just pay taxes on that small amount. But in real life, of course, you're just spending your normal spendings on the expenses of the company. That's a very classic way, and that's a smart way. That's not only in the US, that should be everywhere. You should establish a company, whether it's a sole proprietor or whether it's a full LTD or a limited trading company as in the UK or whatever, and just try to claim as much tax as possible because it's in the system. You're just playing by the book. Of course, within a reasonable range. We're not saying that you should put absolutely 100% of your expenses on the company, but I would say to a very large degree, you can expense many things. You can even get yourself a G-Wagon because the car weight is just over a certain amount of limit. Then you can expenses as a truck for the company, believe it or not. So you can get yourself some luxuries and expense them as business expense as usual. So you minimize the profit and then you minimize the tax you have to pay. So that can apply to US citizens and even the rest of the world. So it's just completely a logical way how to do that. Let's go to different forms of investments and different tax dodging strategies here if you're investing long term. Let's say if you're residing, I'm currently in Spain looking for real estate. However, I do believe that if you are residing in Spain and you're a tax resident in Spain, you would have to pay taxes on assets you have outside of Spain. That's called the wealth tax. I think it's between 1.75% and 3.25. Like, it's a ridiculous amount of money you have to pay yearly just for owning assets outside of the country. So what to do in this case? Well, you build a trust somewhere else. If you're in the EU, then probably Cyprus trust can be a good option. You can build a trust and then you can leave that trust to own everything, and you're just controlling that. So in the trust formation, you just give power to people to use these assets for whatever reason. So that's also a good way to escape that wealth tax, because as far as I know, and as far as my humble travels around the previous few months hunting for real estate, Spain has the system, Portugal has a system, Italy has a very strict tax system, but they have some perks and benefits if you're going there to work, and they have some I think it's called impatri regime. I don't know, I don't speak Italian, sorry, but I believe I've come across something like that. I will inform myself more and I will just elaborate more on that topic. However, if you're just trying to own something outside of a certain country, then they will tax you for owning that under the wealth tax. So there are different tax ways that the government is trying to tax you on, and there are different ways to escape these taxes also the tax book is giving you. So you have to be aware and you have to understand what's going on. So let's break it step by step. If you're a US citizen, then the best way is just doing an LLC, and unfortunately wherever you are on planet Earth you would have to declare your yearly income to the IRS. So it is what it is. If you're not a US citizen, then it's best also to form a company and then to form a trust. The trust controls the assets, and then the company controls your expenses, or you can just write off expenses. So you minimize the amount of taxes you're paying or the amount of profits you're making, and then therefore you're just minimizing the amount of taxes you have to pay at the end of the year. However, if you want to grow, if you want to reinvest, if you want to do many things, just don't get into the illusion of having an amount of money in your bank under your name. That's security. That's not security. That's the biggest risk in your life, to have everything under your own name, because personal liability, that's one of the trickiest things you will ever encounter. Because if things go wrong for any reason, if you just do a small stupid business and I don't know, we're selling a product and someone sneezes because of I don't know, some certain product was or some certain material was in the product, or you're selling something that's a sharp edge, just some stupid reason, nobody's harmed, but I'm just saying, out of nothing they're just trying to claim something, you can lose all your personal assets. That's the importance of having a company, a legal coverage for your personal assets. So if things go wrong for the company, it's completely different than your own assets. I'm not saying don't have anything in your name. Of course, have stuff in your name, but within a reasonable amount, and also try to cover everything under a legal framework with a company. I will be doing a much more breakdown, detailed information about that, and probably I will even break it country by country. I will inform myself more country by country, because crypto is a very interesting topic depending on the country. Some countries are more favorable than others. Of course, we'll say United Arab Emirates, you go to Dubai, 0% tax, you're happy there. But it's not favorable for everyone. It's not really the optimal situation for everyone. So depending on where do you want to live, of course, there is definitely a way to maneuver your way around. So of course I will be doing a detailed video talking about that in a bit of a detail, and I will inform myself first, and I will understand what's going on in terms of taxes, tax system, how things are going, and then I will be elaborating more on that regard. But first things first, you just need to understand the formation of a company or of a legal framework to cover your personal assets, and then you can try to build on that and understand more and more what's going on afterwards in terms of paying taxes, if you're a US citizen or if you're not. That depends on your own personal situation. So I'll be informing you on that, but I will have to inform myself first country by country. But in general, the message is, yes, there are numerous ways to tax dodging, and you have to inform yourself depending on the country of residence. And if you're trying to immigrate from a country to a country, then you have to be fully aware of what's going on. When I first arrived in Spain, I was amazed. Good weather, good food, good people, just, chilled life. Yoo-hoo, let's do that. And then if you're a tax resident in Spain, it's a tricky business here, because you would have to pay like 50% income tax if you're just in the normal tax brackets, and you can pay the wealth tax if you're owning any assets outside of Spain. So be aware of that, and don't get fooled by the beauty of a place. Of course, there are some hiccups here and there, so you need to be aware of that. I'll be updating you, and see you next video. Bye-bye.